I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. This secret is very well known to the successful, and it's probably not what you think. The secret? Believing you can do something and then doing it. Wow, 10 seconds and the bomb is already dropped. In this video are 3 simple steps you can take today to get your engine started. And stick around to the end because I'm going to be sharing with you 4 bonus tips that helped me stay on the path to success. But first, let's go over what success really is. What is success? Everyone might have a different idea or definition of what success really means to them. But in a broader sense, one might say it's the exterior things like money or a car or a big house, a plot of land. But to be honest, these are all just products of being successful internally. A question/quote I always say to myself is, what have I done today that makes this day successful? The key point of that is what you have done, not what you have. So grab your notebook and pen and let's dive right into step number 1. Number 1, limiting beliefs, the law of attraction. Let's look at a common phrase we've probably all heard someone say. I could never have a big house. I could never have a fancy car. I could never imagine having or doing this, and that. Like my mom used to say, you get what you get. But in slightly different words, you get what you think you deserve. If you don't actually start believing you can have those things and do those things, then you never will. Growing up, we're all influenced by mediocre people who don't know how to take risk. They don't believe in taking risk and leaving their comfort zone. As a kid, you believe what you're told. So growing up, you think you have to go through the routine of having a 9-to-5 job, going to school, getting into student debt, having to pay off all that student debt, and retiring in maybe 30 years. It doesn't sound very amusing, does it? In my personal story, it wasn't even until I was introduced to the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I didn't even believe it was possible for someone, a mediocre kid, middle-class kid like me, to live a financially free and fulfilling life. The first step to getting past your limiting beliefs is to expose yourself to the alternate options of your current problems. Having financial problems? Look at the alternative options of increasing your financial literacy or how to increase your income. Relationship problems? Maybe there's room for more self-reflection. The point is to try to be open to the other options out there. And there are other options. When starting out, you don't necessarily need to know how it's going to happen. You just need to know that it can happen, and it will. And then as some say, the universe will respond to that. This is also known as the law of attraction. The law of attraction is a philosophy that suggests that whatever thoughts come into your mind, positive or negative, you will be given the equal result. If you think over and over and over again that you're going to fail your test, you might actually end up failing your test. The same if you were to think that you were going to get a good grade on the test, and of course if you put in the effort of studying. Step number 2, shifting your mindset. With your newfound knowledge of the law of attraction, a question you might ask yourself is, how can we attract more good into our lives and remove and limit the negative thoughts? Let's first start out with the negative or limiting beliefs. On a paper, write out one of your specific goals. Let's say you want to go to the gym 4 times a week for 1 hour, but you just can't pull yourself out of bed to even go. Now, write out some of the things that you think about yourself when you end up not going. Do you put yourself down, or do you say, okay, I can pick myself back up and I can do it again, or I'll try again tomorrow? What are some of the things that you say about yourself when you don't accomplish it? Are they negative? If they're negative, now draw a line and try writing out the opposite of that thought. Example, I will never find the right workout, so there's no point in me going. Now the opposite would be, I will find and test out different workout routines that will be fit for me. I will go to the gym with determination, even if I've had a bad day. I will not say negative things about myself, and that will give me more power and motivation to get up again and start. Try to find and pull out the words like always, never, or can't. Those words I recommend you start removing from your vocabulary, because oftentimes that is the final word. that is your final thought, that you can't do something, or I will never do something, or something is always bad. And when you say things like never or can't, your mind really thinks that it can't. Have a journal on hand or some sort of little notebook so that when these doubtful thoughts come into your mind, you can write them down, see it as it is, and then write the opposite and start believing that opposite. Start telling yourself the opposite of the negative. Tell yourself the positive. Reflect. Ask yourself, do I actually have control over this? If yes, then what can you do right now to change that? If no, then it's time to let go. And if there's something that you physically can't do about it, then try not to worry about it too much. Focus on the things that you can control. Step number 3, taking action now. Knowing something doesn't change your life. Doing something will. Please reread that and say that line to yourself out loud multiple times a day, because that's just it. That's the truth. You aren't actually going to progress with just your thoughts. You must make that connection and build the inner discipline to make it happen. A little trick I use is that instead of using my phone for notes, I always try to have some sort of sticky note or notepad on hand or nearby. And when the feeling of uncertainty or especially boredom creeps in, I like to go to it and write down what are the 3 most important things that I need to get done today to feel the most successful with myself. How will they help me achieve my long-term goals? And then I just do them. Another little trick I use is that I have a tiny little timer and I can just set just 10 minutes. 10 minutes to get my stuff done. Or maybe if there's something that I'm procrastinating on, I'll just set a 5-minute timer and I'll just do it for just 5 minutes. And even if I don't finish, I will still feel like I accomplished doing that task. The point is starting. And even that 5 minutes is starting. One of my favorite Japanese philosophies is called Kaizen, which means to improve by 1% each day, also known as continuous improvement. This helps me to keep the ball rolling and commit to what I can actually achieve. Give yourself that sense of accomplishment, even when doing something as little as making your bed. As long as you have that one small win consistently each day, your mind will believe that you can start to do bigger and bigger things. Now you might be wondering, is it really just as simple as believing you can do something and then doing it? Maybe not as simple, but start to do the digging. Start the process of finding the little tips and tricks that help you to get moving. And don't try to go out there and set unrealistic expectations of getting everything done and that everything will go perfectly smooth. Because in reality, nothing goes perfect. And that's okay. You won't necessarily figure out your whole life in 1 week. Some people take decades to do that. So learn to just be okay with the process and maybe not just achieving the end goal. As a little bonus tip, remind yourself of these 4 things today. Now, I said this before, but knowing something doesn't change your life. Doing something will. Number 2, practice self-awareness. You can't change others, but you can choose to change yourself. Number 3, in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. Don't close yourself off to knowledge, learning new things, and putting yourself out there. Like a muscle after you work out, it will feel really uncomfortable, maybe even a little sore, but that muscle will only grow back to become stronger. Sorry, my camera just died. But number 4, one of my personal favorites, is the practice of Kaizen. Continuous improvement each day, even if it's just by 1%. And if you've made it this far, I deeply want to thank you. And share with me in the comments what one of your goals are, and what is one small step you can take today to get it done.